Well, mistakes were made. Welcome to the third video in the live-action fighting game movie marathon, where I take a look at live-action fighting game movies. And if you haven't seen the last video, where you can click up there and it'll link to you to the last video. Yeah. Well, with that being said, let's talk about Kazuya's revenge. Or here's a better thought, how about we don't? How about we talk about fucking taxes, or fucking funerals, or anything other than this shit?
But before that, let's have a short crash course on Kazuya, because he's actually pretty interesting when it comes to video game characters. And also, I am trying to delay the inevitable. Being the main protagonist of the very first Tekken, Kazuya took more of an edgy tone when it comes to being a hero, or at least compared to characters like Mr. Karate and the American Dream. He entered the first Tekken tournament to take down his dad Heihachi, who was the leader of a corrupt conglomerate, all to exact vengeance on the old man after he chucked his ass off a cliff when he was 5. Yeah, this series is a bit, nuts. And at the end of Kazuya's campaign, he actually does succeed in his vengeance and ends the tyranny of his father. He even gets to be in charge of Heihachi's company afterwards, and his first order of business?
After giving it careful thought, I have decided to become worse.
So yeah, it turns out Kazuya is even more corrupt than his dear old pappy. Going so far as to kidnap people, run illegal experiments, straight up murdering people, and being the actual devil. This massive heel turn must have been a big-ass surprise to the fans of the first game, and it kind of shaped the overall narrative of Tekken, with Kazuya and the rest of his bloodline, except for Lars, but who gives a shit about Lars? Turning out to be irredeemable assholes in some point in time.
And with all of that being said, I can safely say, none of that is in this film. Nor 99% of what makes Tekken Tekken is in this film. My friends, welcome to Kazuya's revenge. Suffer with me.
So the film begins with Kazuya having some weird dreams before waking up in a hotel room that he's never seen before. And fight scene! Yeah! We're doing this now. Nothing's been established yet, nothing's been explained. There's not even a single bit of dialogue spoken yet at this moment, but fuck it. We're in a fight scene. Things are just happening.
And let that be the tagline for this film. Things just happen. Comma, but do they?
So after that big old fight scene that felt like it took more than the minute it actually was, Kazuya then jumps off a building only to get hit by a car, then a lady, then we get the main title of this film, which... Oh, what is that? This is literally just the first movie's logo, but they slapped a big-ass 2 on the end. The 2 doesn't even match the shadowing! Anyway, we then cut to Kazuya waking up in the slums tied on a cross as we meet the Minister. And instead of going on a spiel about how this character does not exist in the games, I'm just gonna drop the ball and say there are only 3 characters from the actual game that are in this film. And none of them are king. God, why must you deprive me of my wrestle deity? So we kind of get an exposition dump from this scene, like how Kazuya has amnesia, which 1, very original, and 2, this is supposed to be the big mystery of this movie. Who is this man? What is this man? And it's also a mystery that can be solved if you read the fucking title! So yeah, the majority of this film, they only refer to Kazuya as K. Because they name people after the alphabet?
I think we're at H.
It's G. It's K.
Now, what do you say, folks? Is that convenient or poor writing? Because my answer's the latter.
So the minister tells Kay, yeah, no, that is as subtle as a firework machine gun. I am not calling him that. So the minister tells Kazuya that he implanted a bomb in his chest, and if he doesn't comply...
And it exploded.
So Kazuya is branded and knocked out, leading him to wake up in a cage with these... fetish women? Or not, they just kind of Batman their way out of the scene. Why were they even there? And now, here is where we get to see the main aspect of Kazuya's revenge. Something that you can expect to see throughout this entire film. Walking. Just a lot of walking in this film. I'm gonna keep a counter. It's here where we also get to see the weird fetish ladies doing... assassination training? I don't know, this just looks weird. Before stumbling into another cage where we get another fight scene. And after Kazuya defeats 2 dudes, the minister comes in to congratulate his victory, and I'm just gonna say it, he looks like Ron Jeremy, and I am not comfortable with that fact. So Kazuya just returns to his cage just to have a cryptic flashback, with the only word that can be comprehended at this time being pain. We then cut to, whoa, hold up, stop the film, get away from that, ugh!
Oh, why does this and the last movie have moments of implied rape? It's not mature. It's icky. I don't have a joke for this. So here's a dog.
Hello, baby. Come here. Come here. Come here. Yeah. Who's your good boy? Who's your good boy? Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby.
Anyway, after... we then move on to meet with Girl 1. She does have a name, but she's also not in the game, so I don't care. She's Girl 1. She takes Kazuya to a firing range. He says he hates guns.
I don't like guns.
Then he shoots a gun. Then they go to a stadium. Then people fight Kazuya. Kazuya wins, and then he leaves. I just explained the entirety of this scene without skipping a beat. Anyway, Kazuya then meets up with this janitor, who tells Kazuya that the minister might be a good guy, because he killed his evil son for him. Okay. Still planted a bomb in his chest and looking creepy around. Oh god, children, no. I'm not feeling comfortable right now. And shortly, after having to fight those 2 random guys in the stadium, Kazuya is then summoned back to the stadium to fight another random guy, and god, the fight scenes are not good. There's just nothing to be invested in, not in this fight and not in any other fight. I don't know this guy, and I barely care about Kazuya in this thing. Essentially, we're just watching 2 people flail at each other, and, well, it kind of makes the fight dull. But yeah, Kazuya wins, he walks off, and Heihachi's there for some reason, played by Kari Tagawa, who played Shang Tsung and Heihachi in the last film, just not sporting the hair that makes him look like Heihachi. Also, since we're on the topic, Kazuya in this film is played by Kane Kasugi, I hope I'm saying that right, who played Ryu Hayabusa in the Dead or Alive film that I just reviewed. And much like his dad, there is nothing to compare him to his video game counterpart, except for maybe the goatee that he had in the last film? Yeah, no, he just looks like martial law now. But anyway, returning to the film. Turns out Kazuya needs to kill his opponent in order to win, but Kazuya says he doesn't kill, which is funny because this is Kazuya we're talking about. So instead, the minister has his opponent killed, and everyone reacts to this gruesome death with...
Dull surprise!
Then later that night, the janitor returns to comfort and inform Kazuya that he's gonna be shipping out tomorrow for some sort of mission. Oh yeah, but before we can actually do that, we get this awkward scene of Kazuya playing with children by splashing water at them, shirtless.
We are only 30 minutes into this film. And it's an hour and a half. Well, time to bust out drinking bleach. This is gonna be a night.
Cut to the next day, and we get Kazuya and Girl 1 walking. Then Kazuya asks her why she's even working in this profession, and she says that throughout history, a great amount of people believe in religion. And that's it. No further explanation or clarity on what the hell she's even talking about? Even Kazuya doesn't understand, because she just kind of says it and leaves.
Over 1 billion people believed in Allah, over 2 billion in Jesus Christ, and a few in L. Ron Hubbard.
So, like, did God tell you to kill people, or...?
In 1793, Eli Whitney created the cotton gin.
Okay, you're either batshit insane or stupid. Either way, this is all gonna go down in flames.
So now they arrived at their destination, where Kazuya needs to assassinate a crime boss, who does terrible things like murder, smuggling drugs, and solicit little girls? With 8 years old being the youngest known?
Hey, did you know in Tekken there's a character named Mokujin who's basically a test dummy, but he has his own endings? One of my favorites being that he actually travels to Namco Bandai and hangs out with this female dummy. It's adorable and wholesome. They took a picture with Pac-Man. It's great! It's great! What the fuck is with these writers?
So... yeah... Kazuya enters the room of the crime boss and in 2 seconds, kills him with a chopstick in the most brutal fashion. Wow! Afterwards, he and Girl 1 then decide to casually walk away from the scene. Then we get a scene where Girl 1 leads Kazuya into this little area, tells him to wait there, and then some random guy shows up, asks his name, and then tells him to follow him somewhere else. Now I know that sounded tedious, but that's because it is. Now Kazuya is given a new home where he's gonna be staying there for the foreseeable future. He even gets a cute roommate, which, after Kazuya goes on a very long walk, is witnessed being mugged. And after saving her life, guess what comes next? More walking!
Hey, remember when this film was supposed to be based on a fighting game? Yeah, me neither.
He then meets back up with Girl 1, who tells him that his next case is ready before the camera decides to show us what else but more walking. We then cut to a club where Kazuya has to infiltrate in order to assassinate his next target, and by God, this might be the worst scene in the entire movie, because the editing is just atrocious. The camera keeps moving around to show us different shots of people standing about, things that if I tried to show you, YouTube would try to murder me, and Kazuya just wandering like he's lost or something. Then we get, like, just out-of-order scenes and strange moments like Kazuya disappearing and reappearing in the same place. Then we hear a neck snap, but the guy's fine. Then the next shot, he's dead, and people are screaming, but no one's moving, and stuff is happening, and I don't know what's happening. What the fuck is going on?
If it sounds like I'm speaking absolute nonsense or just don't understand what I'm saying, that's because I have no clue what's going on! Like, I've watched this scene multiple times! And yet, every time, I am still lost! And I watch stuff like these! I love these films! These are my favorite films! And yet, I completely don't know what the hell's going on! So what should that tell you? I know what it tells you. This movie is absolutely poo-poo!
So after... honest to God, I don't remember. We then meet up with Kazuya's roommate, Girl 2. She's not in the game, so I don't care. Which is kind of funny, because I thought at first that was supposed to be Jun Kazama. Because, you know, she was important in the last movie, and I thought this was an origin story. But nope, that's not her. Fuck off, I guess. And after she gives Kazuya some good old spaghetti and some patchwork, he decides to do what else but more walking. We also get some flashbacks while we're at it, and I am not kidding you, these are literally just scenes taken from the first film, even though this is supposed to be a prequel. But anyway, Kazuya then returns to the hotel from the beginning and discovers a hint to his identity, as he is told that he signed the papers under the name KM.
KM? Oh, I know now! He's supposed to be Lucky Chloe! Yeah! He was Lucky Chloe the entire time! This hint is as subtle as a bat to the taint!
Anywho, Girl 1 appears and tells Kazuya that they have another gig, in which they have to assassinate a mysterious man who turns out to be Brian Fury, who's played by the same actor from the last film, but this time, they're not even trying. I mean, going back to the last film, he honestly played the part. He looks like Brian Fury, or at least how I envision a live-action Brian Fury. But here, I honestly think he just showed up on set wearing what he put on this morning, and the director went, "Fuck it, there's no time, we need to film more walking scenes." So Kazuya decides to fight Brian Fury, only to get his ass flat, while Brian states,
"This isn't what it seems."
And then he just teleports away. So after all of that, Kazuya confronts Girl 1 about the minister, and that maybe, just maybe, he might not be on the up and up of things. What? No! The guy who implanted a bomb in your chest and kills people with no remorse is a bad guy? I wouldn't have guessed! So then, after that, Kazuya goes to Girl 2 and asks her to remove the bomb. And after doing so, sex.
I got nothing. Kazuya fucks.
So after a good shag, Kazuya gets contacted by Brian, who informs him that everything that he's been doing up to now is a big fat lie, and after meeting back up with Girl 1, Brian shows himself to say the exact same thing, I guess. Then afterwards, he promptly phases out of existence from the rest of the movie because, you know, people do that in this film. So now, knowing that everything was a lie, Kazuya and Girl 1 confront the minister. And then they kill him instantly. You know, I kind of expected a movie based on a fighting game to have Kazuya, you know, fight this guy, but guess that's too much to ask, huh? So the duo returns to Kazuya's place, only to find out that Girl 2 has been kidnapped and was taken to Gentech Factory, which looks like a community center. And while trying to sneak around, Girl 1 comes across the crazy fetish lady from the beginning, and now they must duke it out. Or Girl 1 just does the look over there motion and throat chops her, instantly winning. You said you wanted a fight? Well, fuck you. Oh, but then Girl 1 runs into this Slavic chick, and now they must fight. But suck a dick, we don't get to see that happening, because we don't get nice things. Instead, we follow Kazuya, where... What the fuck is that? So now out pops the real villain of this film, Heihachi, who comes out to explain everything that's going on. Like the fact that Kazuya Mishima's real name was... Kazuya Mishima. I would have never guessed. It's also revealed that Heihachi mind-wiped Kazuya in order to test if he was strong enough to take over the company. Similar to how the games did that, except Heihachi threw him off a fucking cliff to test him. And between you and me, I prefer the cliff. Yeah, it's stupid, but, you know, it's also not lame. Oh yeah, and also to add, in this flashback, Heihachi knocks out Kazuya by doing the force stick twist? What the hell is that?
Section 2. Ball stretcher.
Oh, but that's not all. Heihachi also brainwashed Girl 2, so she can make out with him in front of Kazuya, and then just die? What?
No. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Fuck this movie!
Oh, thank God, the movie's almost over. So Kazuya goes to fight Heihachi, only for him to use the instant transmission technique to get to the other side of the room because nothing makes sense anymore. Now Kazuya must take on his final challenge against two dudes we've never seen before and have never been built up to. I just can't. So bada bing bada boom, he beats them up, he wins, Heihachi's gone, cause fuck me, we're not getting a Heihachi fight, are we? Then Girl 1 comes out of nowhere to comfort Kazuya, and now the two are gonna go after Heihachi, in which we cut to Heihachi saying practically, "Come at me, bro," before we cut to Tekken City, ending the film.
We hope you've enjoyed No Moral Theater, ladies and gentlemen. The camera.
Let's forget the fact that this is supposed to be based off of Tekken. Let's forget that this film has absolutely nothing to do with the source material, other than these three characters are named after these characters. Because on its own, this film is the most disjointed, confusing, tedious, morbid, boring, and infuriating experiences that I have ever had to sit through. Where somehow stuff just happens while at the same time, nothing is happening. There are so many bad films out there, but none of them feel like they actively hate their viewers and just want to see them suffer. If there is any good that can come out of this, is that I now appreciate the first film just a little bit more. Because yeah, even though I have my issues with it, I could at least tell it's supposed to be based off of Tekken, and whoever made it at least made the attempt to make it somewhat like the games. But here? Well, I hope the actors got paid well. Now, despite some videos, I don't like to be the guy who says, "Oh, stay away from this thing like the plague," but honest to God, I feel like you'll be better off if you just forget this exists. And really, that just kind of sums up Kazuya's revenge. Just, let's forget about it. That and too much walking scenes. I mean, what the fuck? There were just so many of these, and this is supposed to be a fighting game. Whose idea was it to make so many walking scenes?